Welcome back to Inclusion Revolution. I'm your host, Tova, and again, Andy Cox has been kind enough to stick around a little longer because I have some more questions. So I'm sure you have a lot of questions too, and Andy's going to be a guy you're going to want to follow up with. We'll make sure the number and his email is on our website as well at inclusionrevolution.com for you. So Andy, before we wrap up today, one of the things we haven't really touched on is we've touched on the way you work, and connect with families. You connect with, of course, the programs within the IWK, Addictions and Mental Health Services, and you're connecting with schools. What about the community of agencies with disabilities? I'm for instance, I'm associated with Reachability, and I know that there's great agencies in the community like Lake City and Lang House, and these are all, supports for mental health consumers, specifically with Lang, I know it's youth. Mm-hmm. So can you tell me some of the relationships, if any, mm-hmm. you have in the community agencies and how you're utilizing their services, or perhaps they're utilizing yours in maximizing supports for mental health youth?
Yeah, I really try to keep a tabs on some of these organizations. I find that nonprofit organizations, they have so much passion. So an example would be a great organization that we utilize. We're a great partner, Lang House.
Yeah, I enjoy their work as well.
Yeah, great center down on Barrington Street, very friendly, non-clinical. So a youth from 16 to 30, so they help with the transition as well,
key
right?
Transition time.
Yeah.
Sure.
So, but they offer, a youth would have a kind of an informal caseworker. They offer help with, getting back into school, stigma, employment, housing, peer support, which we talked about.
So you could see your clients transitioning. You're not just transitioning them, you're transitioning them to environments that offer them the kinds of supports you would like to continue to offer them, but of course your role is up until that age. Yeah. So you do have the next step essentially in place. And how difficult, if at all, is it difficult to sort of get connected with these agencies? Or you're just sort of saying, here we are, and they're going, let's do it? Sometimes I know that there's different challenges around working with different agencies, and I'm wondering for you how seamless it is, and maybe some of the other agencies that you maybe have worked with or recommend that if people are watching today but perhaps they have adult mm-hmm. children with mental health or siblings or friends, mm-hmm. Some of the different places they might go as they get a little older. And I know one of them, as you had mentioned, is Lang. Mm-hmm. What I really like about the Lang House model is, as you said, it's really holistic in terms of the things they do. And of course, they're able to take youth as young as 16, mm-hmm. which provides you a fantastic transition yes. environment. Something about the community agencies that we should know, other agencies that maybe you recommend people call if the person involved is over 19.
Yeah.
And again, Lang being a great opportunity. You just have to Google that, everybody. Lang House, L-A-I-N-G.
Yeah, there's some housing organizations. I just find the nonprofit agencies, they really do a bulk of mental health work.
Understood.
And they don't get recognized for that. Reachability, some of the housing, homeless, homeless. A lot of homeless.
Homeless initiative is also very right now. I know the Department of Community Services has a very large homelessness initiative in place, mm-hmm. and people don't always think about the fact that with mental health often comes poverty and homelessness. That's right. I mean, they're very connected for some very obvious reasons. Mm-hmm. If we're not managing our mental health, the likelihood is that we're not functioning really well in our community, and that work and ultimately making money is going to be more challenging. What is your commitment to the employment piece? Do you have any involvement in that other than the referral to Lang, who I know does great work with employment and mental health youth?
Mm-hmm. I don't do so much. I can link them up with organizations. We do, in our programs, we have occupational therapists who do right. quite a good job with that. Or getting into school.
Right, so for back to school and back to work, that's not necessarily your specialty, but again, because you're a navigator, you're like the captain yep. of the ship, you're taking the ship in the different ports that everybody needs, and I think that that's a very powerful role in a positive way, not powerful as in power, but powerful in what you're providing.
Yeah.
And I think that again, I wish every type of disability had its advocate, because I have so many calls for so many advocacy challenges, and of course we don't have anyone to really send them to, and we try always, every agency I know tries to do what they can within the constructs, but I think a navigator like yourself, who's also obviously a mental health advocate, but a navigator of the community, is something that I'd like to see growing. I think that you should start a navigation school where you could actually communicate and support other people who would like to become supportive navigators navigators and advocates in the community. I don't know if you're ready to write another proposal or not, but keep that in your pocket. That one's yours, okay? But I think that really what we want, the big message that I want everyone who's viewing today and to tell other friends is there are people navigating the community for mental health youth in the community. Andy Cox is a great example of that. And not only is Andy Cox a great example of that, but he stepped up to the plate, wrote his proposal, sold his idea, and made it work. And I think that that's an incredibly powerful message, that we can't just sit back and let the water wash over us. Those of us who live with mental health or just are interested in supporting and, you know, changing that stigma and changing that way of thinking, because we both know how it affected us individually, and that's why we're both, I think, probably in the business we're in, which is we want to make a difference for those that didn't have the supports that you and I can now provide. And for that reason, I want to congratulate you and thank you. And we don't do a Maritimer of the Week, but if we did, it'd be you, Andy. Okay? You'd be my Maritimer of the Week. But what I'd like to do first is just skip to our poll in our News of the Week, which I think you're going to find interesting, because I tried very hard to make sure that we reflect today's discussion. And I'm not sure if you know this, but Parents for Children's Mental Health, which is our source for this, they have a health fact sheet that states it's estimated 70% of childhood mental health issues can be solved with early intervention and therapy. And boy, are you the guy to talk to about that. And our poll today, do you think children are too young to be taking prescription medication for mental health issues? If we'd had time, I'll ask you afterward about that. If you're interested in answering those questions, just come to inclusionrevolution.com. And for this week, I'm Tova Sherman, your host of Inclusion Revolution. I hope you'll join us every Sunday night at 8:30 and Monday to Friday at 3 for Inclusion Revolution here on Eastlink TV. We'll see you soon.